Today's lesson is parallel, intersecting, and perpendicular lines. Okay, so now with this lesson, you just need to know the definitions of these three words and understand them. The parallel, intersecting, and perpendicular. I'll make it very easy and simple and quick for you to remember. So a parallel are two lines that will never meet each other. Okay, so if I extend this line, it doesn't matter to infinity. It doesn't matter how long I extend this top line, how long I extend this bottom line, they'll never meet, they'll never touch. These two lines will never touch each other. So if I had a line going like this and a line going like this, can I say, are these two lines parallel? No, they're not. Well, right now they're not touching each other, but if I keep on extending them, they're going to end up touching each other. So that does not make it a parallel line. Whereas these two lines, it doesn't matter how far I go with them, this way or that way, they'll never touch each other. Just think about train tracks. No matter what, the tracks on each side will never connect, will never touch each other. Otherwise, the train will not operate. The train will not move at all. Okay, so that's for parallel lines. Intersecting. What are intersecting lines? Intersecting lines are two lines that touch each other. So basically this one right here, it's not a parallel line. What is it called? It's an intersecting line. Why? Because two lines touched each other. So it go this way, it go this way, they touched right there. That's an intersecting line. It go this way, it could go this way. Where did they touch? They touch right there. So those are intersecting lines. So lines that touch or cross each other are called intersecting lines. Now, what is a perpendicular line? A perpendicular line is a line, are two lines that touch and meet each other at a square corner. So two lines that meet to make a square corner. So we could, in other words, we could say it's a 90-degree angle, or two lines that connect at a square corner. So this one right here. So if you're looking at the corners of your rooms, the corners of houses, the corners of anything, that's called a square corner, because you got one line going this way and you got the other line going that way. And if you draw a square right here, it would make a perfect square. So that's why they call it a square corner. That's what it's called, a square corner. I'm going to give you an example of this crayon box right here and ask you questions about this crayon box. Okay, how can you describe the edges of this crayon box? Okay, how can you describe the edges of this crayon box? I'm going to only talk about this edge right here and this edge right here. So the top edge and the bottom edge. I'm going to ask you, how can you describe the edges of this crayon? They go straight across from left to right. So that's one description, that they go from left to right. They go from left to right. And from the previous lesson, what did we call a line that goes from left to right? We called it a horizontal line. So you could also say there's two horizontal lines, because I'm talking about these two edges. Another question, if I measure how far apart these edges are from each other on one end and measure again on the other end, what do you think? So if I measure, so we got this line and this line. So my question is, if I measure from this line to this line and then measure it again from here to here, what's most likely going to be the measurement? They're going to be the same. Okay, so if I measure from this corner to this corner and then measure from this corner to this corner, it's going to be the same. Let's say it's about 7 centimeters. Okay, from this line to this line, from here to here, it's going to be the same from this side to this side. In other words, what are these two lines? They are parallel lines. No matter how far I go with this line, how far I go with this line, they'll never touch each other, which makes them parallel lines. Now, tell me about these two lines, these two edges, this edge right here and this edge right here. What does that tell you? Okay, so this line meets this line at a square corner. This corner is a square corner right here, right? So we would call that a perpendicular line. So this line intersects with it. They are also intersecting. These two lines are intersecting, but they're intersecting at a corner that's a square corner, so we will call them perpendicular line. Okay, so just a little recap of the three things that you must remember. Parallel lines will never touch each other. They could go in any direction. They could go left to right. They could go up and down, right? These are also perpendicular lines. Intersecting lines are two lines that meet. Perpendicular lines are two lines that meet, but they meet at a square corner.